Night to Remember. Emily's Journey.
It was a beautiful spring morning as Emily woke up feeling anxious. She looked at her phone and saw a notification that made her heart race. She had won tickets to a concert that evening, all day long. Emily counted down the seconds until the concert, counting the minutes until she could see her favorite singer perform. She spent the afternoon getting ready, picking out the perfect outfit, and doing her hair and makeup. As dusk approached, Emily headed to the concert venue, feeling the thrill of the evening air. She could hear the music from outside, and her heart raced with excitement. When Emily arrived, she discovered that the concert was sold out, and without her ticket, she wouldn't be allowed in. She searched her purse, frantic with panic when she realized she had lost it. Ryan, a friendly stranger who had been in line behind her, noticed her distress and offered to help. They spent the next hour retracing Emily's steps and searching for the ticket, but it was nowhere to be found. As the clock struck midnight, Emily had given up hope of ever seeing the concert. Suddenly, Ryan suggested the idea of a fake ticket to gain entry to the concert. Emily was against it, but she wouldn't miss her dream concert just like that. Finally, as Emily and Ryan stood in line, nervously approaching the ticket collector, they held out their breath. The collector looked at their ticket and it worked. They were in. The next couple of hours were a blur of excitement. The music, the lights, the screaming fans. Emily danced and sang along to every song, finally feeling the thrill of the experience. As the concert came to an end, Emily couldn't believe how quickly it had gone by. It felt like only seconds had passed since she had first won the tickets that morning. But she knew it was a moment she would cherish for a lifetime. Years later, Emily looked back on that evening as a turning point in her life. It had been a night of adventure, excitement, and the budding of a new friendship. It was a memory that she would treasure for the rest of her life.
The Awakening. A Tale of Kindness and Redemption. Once upon a time, there was a teacher named Mrs. Williams who had a reputation for being strict and serious. Her students were afraid of her, and none of them dared to talk back or misbehave in her class. One day, while Mrs. Williams was writing on the board, she accidentally knocked over a cup of coffee, and it spilled all over her dress and the floor. She was embarrassed and angry, and without thinking, she yelled at one of her students, Emily, for not cleaning it up fast enough. Feeling ashamed, Emily went back to her seat, and Mrs. Williams continued the lesson. However, something strange started to happen. The desk, chair, and duster in the room began to shake, as if they were alive. The students looked around in confusion, not sure what was happening, and Mrs. Williams yelled at them to sit still and pay attention. Suddenly, the desk rose into the air and floated towards Mrs. Williams. The chair followed, and the duster began to twirl like a tornado. The students were now frightened, and many of them started to cry. Mrs. Williams tried to escape, but the board blocked her path, and the map on the wall began to melt like wax. Then, a voice boomed throughout the room. "Mrs. Williams, you are too strict and too serious. You need to learn to be kinder and more patient with your students." Shocked and scared, Mrs. Williams could only nod her head in agreement. The desk, chair, and duster returned to their original positions, and the board, map, and coffee stain vanished without a trace. Mrs. Williams went on to be a kinder and more understanding teacher, and her students were grateful for the change. From that day on, the students remembered the day when the classroom items came to life and reminded their teacher of the importance of kindness and patience.